If there is one person who seemingly represents British royal family drama, it's Camilla Parker Bowles. While some would assign Prince Harry or Meghan Markle to that moniker, Parker Bowles was the OG source of strife for the monarchy. For those who've been living under a rock for the last couple of decades, or haven't caught up on the latest seasons of The Crown, Parker Bowles is Prince Charles's now wife, but until they got married in 2005, she was known as the mistress who, largely according to the public, split up the seemingly fairy tale marriage of Charles and the late Princess Diana. As such, people near and far have had mixed feelings about Parker Bowles, and to say that gaining her current status in the royal family has been an uphill battle is an understatement. With such a contentious public reputation has come some odd and rather peculiar occurrences for Parker Bowles, and while the royal family tends to try to keep its nose clean of all oddities, some have bubbled to the surface. So, if you've ever wondered what questionable act stopped Parker Bowles from marrying Charles in the first place or what secret scheme was created with her in mind, wonder no more. Here are strange facts about Camilla Parker Bowles. Unlike the rest of the royals, Camilla Parker Bowles actually watches The Crown. Camilla Parker Bowles stands out from the royal crowd. She's a divorcee, she comes across as rather normal, and, of course, she's been at the center of one of the world's most contentious love triangles for decades. And oddly enough, one area where she differs greatly from the royal family is her taste in television. An inside source told Vanity Fair that, strangely, Parker Bowles is a viewer of The Crown, the hit Netflix drama that dramatizes the royal family's tumultuous history with an ever-impressive rotating cast. The Queen has no desire to watch herself in a fictitious TV program, while princess, and has no time for such nonsense, an inside source told the publication in 2020, but in opposition to her in-laws, Parker Bowles has apparently tuned into the show. I imagine she'll be tuning in with a glass of red wine to watch it. She has seen the previous series, a friend of Parker Bowles shared. She has a wonderful sense of humor and this won't fuss her in the slightest. A family friend also confirmed that Parks Bowles doesn't have any real issue with the fictitious show, a strange opinion compared to the rest of the royal family. Camilla was a tomboy before taking up noble life. Both Camilla and her great-grandmother had royal affairs. Most, if not all of us, know Camilla Parker Bowles due to her infamous affair with Prince Charles, and, of course, their marriage today. Call it a strange coincidence, but her great-grandmother and Charles's great-great-grandfather were also adulterous lovers. As noted by the New York Post, Charles and Parker Bowles met when they were in their early 20s. Reportedly, Parker Bowles curtsied and then immediately said to the prince, "My great-grandmother and your great-great-grandfather were lovers. So how about it?" She was referring to her great-grandmother, Alice Keppel, who was King Edward VI's mistress and Parker Bowles' role model since childhood, according to the paper. Keppel infamously once said, "My job is to curtsy first and then jump into bed." While Parker Bowles hasn't made a ton of comments that have been that off the cuff, it is a bit strange to think that royal infidelity has been a family thing. Reportedly, Parker Bowles would tell people that, due to Keppel's affiliation, her family was practically royal. Lynn Redgrave, who attended the same school as the Duchess, said that landing a rich husband was the top of the agenda for the future royal. It's always strange to find out that some of the most proper among us used to lead far less extravagant lives, especially when it comes to the royal family, but that is the case for Camilla Parker Bowles. While she grew up within Britain's noble class, as noted by Good Housekeeping, being in step with the latest fashion or the high-class frivolities never seemed to be on Parks Bowles' radar. Parker Bowles grew up in the high ranks of British society. Her family's estate was on a 5.7-acre plot, and she and her father would go fox hunting together, but being the picture of properness, strangely, wasn't her goal. As noted by the New York Post, Parker Bowles was a tomboy who was far more popular with the boys in her classes than she was with the girls. Why? She could talk to boys about things that interested them, Carolyn Benson, a fellow former student, shared. She was never a girl's girl. She was always a boy's girl. By the time Parker Bowles left school, she had a sexy confidence over men, according to Benson, who labeled the Duchess as quite a flirt back in the day. Tatler had to get police involved because of Camilla Parker Bowles' hate mail. We all know what it's like to get a little bit of flack for something we've posted on the internet. Maybe that one photo of you with your ex didn't exactly age well, or maybe your hot take on whether cereal is soup got too many people riled up. That is understandable, but where things really crossed the line and got strange and slightly horrifying for Camilla Parker Bowles was when the police had to get involved over the amount of hate mail directed at her. As noted by the Daily Mail, media outlet Tatler had to call the police over the hate mail that they were receiving regarding Camilla. Described as so cruel and deranged, the letters targeting the Duchess of Cornwall were next-level scary. At the height of her infamy, the amount of photographers outside her home became a normal part of life, which is anything but normal. Her son, Tom Parker Bowles, explained, "The paparazzi used to follow us everywhere and lurk around like spooks. We used to keep binoculars in my mother's bathroom, and one of us would look out every morning to see how many paparazzi were hiding in the bushes." She was fired from her job at an interior design company. Thinking of Camilla Parker Bowles in a day job does seem a bit odd, but she did have a pretty normal position that eventually ended in her termination. We've all been there, and it's truly not your 20s if you don't get fired from a retail gig or get kicked out of a job waiting tables. In an interview with the Sunday Times, designer Imogen Taylor recalled a young Parker Bowles working for the interior design company Colfax and Fowler. It was the 1960s, and Parker Bowles was an up-and-coming debutante trying to make a name for herself in the bustling London scene. She took a job as an assistant at the company. "She worked for us for a moment but got the sack," Taylor said. So what happened? In her book, On the Fringe, A Life in Decorating, Taylor revealed that, oddly enough, Parker Bowles was the frowned-upon subject of then-boss, Tom Parr. After a night of dancing, Parker Bowles came into work late and fell victim to one of Parr's tantrums, according to Taylor. Camilla's father basically made Andrew Parker Bowles propose to her. We all know that Prince Charles ended up marrying Diana Spencer, and most of us know that Camilla Parker Bowles married Andrew Parker Bowles. But it turns out that Camilla was all but forced into her first marriage. As noted by Good Housekeeping, Andrew's brother and Camilla's father took it upon themselves to matchmake by inserting themselves into the couple's relationship. Concerned about Andrew's willingness to commit to his then-girlfriend of almost 7 years, the father-brother duo submitted an engagement announcement to the Times on behalf of the couple, even though no such engagement had taken place. In her book Prince Charles, The Passions and Paradoxes of an Improbable Life, author Sally Bedell Smith detailed the very strange move, revealing that Camilla's first husband was essentially cornered into a proposal. His hand publicly forced, Andrew proposed, she concluded. Take this as your sign to never propose if you don't want to, because it certainly didn't work out well for the couple. The marriage was fraught with infidelity, via cheat sheet, and Camilla and Andrew eventually divorced in 1995.